All right, gonna show you some full training footage clips today because surprisingly enough, you guys have asked to see more training footage. It's not something I've done in quite a while, and this is actually the second of 3 total training days I have during the week. So yes, only training 3 times a week right now, which means the volume is extremely high. I'm benching 3 times a week, squatting 3 times a week, and deadlifting twice a week. And I'm starting to get a little bit more used to it, but you will hear by the end of the video that I get pretty out of breath from these training sessions. So on this particular day, it called for 4 sets of 8, with the last set of 8 being an AMRAP of high bar pause squats. And this is something that I've really been trying to work on. I'm happy with my depth here, although my form is still a little bit more, I'd say, of a hybrid as far as my stance and the way that my body tracks compared to how a high bar squat should be. But again, I'm just using my own mobility here to really dictate how I do these things. But overall, I was pretty pleased with how squats have been feeling. I wasn't too pleased with how long the pauses were, but let's be honest, we all probably want to spend more time in the hole, if you know what I'm saying. Also tried to get some inception there, going side by side with video and video. The nice thing about training at home is I can actually set up more than one camera if I want and not feel like a total jackass. Still feel like a little one, but not a complete and total jackass. So the weight here wasn't anything impressive, just 275. Here you can see more of those times in the hole, kind of going a lot more faster than I thought they would be. A little premature on these, but hey, at this point, I'll take what I can get. Again, my squats have been feeling really well considering I've been doing them 3 times per week. From there, we moved on to close grip bench press, 210 pounds on the bar, 5 sets of 8 reps again, with that last set being an AMRAP, and we've really been doing a lot of volume on bench. I mentioned 3 times per week, so the frequency is high, the volume's also really high. When you consider some of the other assistance bench movements we're doing, you're looking at about 10 working sets per training session. A little inception in this video as well, but I'm really hoping that it's going to have a good carryover, only because out of my big 3 lifts, which some would argue aren't that big to begin with, bench has really been a struggle. In some cases, I feel like I regress a little bit. I think a lot of that's due to me and really not being satisfied with my setup or my hand position, but hopefully that'll change going forward. From there, we moved on to competition style with a 2-second pause for 5 sets of 8 here, and then jumped into some tricep work. So again, between the close grip, the bench press, and this, lots of tricep work, a couple sets of pull-ups as well, 3 sets of 10, just using body weight for now. And then finally doing some kettlebell swings with a resistance band. And no, this is not CrossFit, but it really works on my glutes and hamstrings.
All right, so literally just finished the workout. Wanted to throw a quick commentary on here, but that being the case, if I get a little breathy during this, I apologize, but I'm pretty tired. This stuff is kicking my ass. These are long training sessions. And today is actually the shorter version of the ones because I didn't have to deadlift today. But I wanted to make some commentary regarding the gym because I made some changes. You guys probably noticed during the workout clips themselves. Number 1, I changed the orientation of the rack. So it used to face this direction, and now it faces long way. I hope this is actually going to work out a little bit better because the orientation of the basement is actually in this direction, so I think it takes up less floor print overall as far as how it works with the rest of the room. And all about that feng shui, you know me. Otherwise, I think it's also going to help with the lighting situation. So obviously we have the overhead light here, but a couple people have commented, how do you get the lighting so good in your videos, especially because you're in the basement? And you guys might have seen in other clips that I do use these box lights that I've actually shown on my office tour from last year. I'm probably due for another update on those videos because I changed a lot of the setup upstairs also, but these make a huge difference for any video. So if you're shooting video and you really want to get good quality, it's all really about lighting. That's a huge benefit. And these things I think cost like $140 through Amazon. They're Cowboy Studio, I want to say, and they are awesome, and they definitely make a big difference down here. So with this, again, I was using these when the rack was faced the other way, but I had some trouble with getting some backlighting because the rack used to face this back wall and there's no real lighting off of it. As you can see, it kind of casts a shadow. So I figured by turning the rack around, I can utilize this back window as well to kind of serve a dual purpose of letting in some light and also just being a good place. If it gets hot, I can open the window and I'll have a nice breeze right here. Obviously on the sides, I still have the other windows over there as well. So I think that's a big change. And as part of that also, I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but on the old rack setup, one of the plywood boards is actually a little bit bent and this corner ended up sticking up quite a bit. So unless there was weight on it, it would not be all the way down on the ground. So it stuck up a little bit and that was really annoying. What I really needed to do was flip that board. However, being that everything was set up and everything's bolted down, it was kind of a pain in the ass. So as I changed the orientation, I also wanted to fix that. And when I was doing that, I had to remove this top layer of plywood, and I kind of busted up a little bit of it. Some of these screws kind of got in the wrong way and didn't come out so well. So I kind of screwed up a little bit of the plywood, but that was actually a hidden benefit because I also had this other sticker to use. So this is a 3x3 decal that I put down here, and I think it works a lot better than the old one. So that's the new one. The old one is over there, as you can see, a lot smaller. And I know sizes and everything, but in some people's minds, it does make a big deal. And here you can kind of see some of the screws on the back. They just didn't come out, they got stuck. You can see some of the stuff actually ripped out. So I figured I'd go ahead and use that extra piece of plywood only because I had it. And I don't actually think that's plywood, excuse me. I think that's like birch or pine or something. It's a higher grade wood, but overall everything worked out well, so that thing got set up just fine. Now that being said, I do have to fix some of the other stuff I need to clean up because I did this yesterday. So I moved everything, took this apart, moved the whole entire rack by myself, literally just kind of used some of the band pegs, as you can see there. And what I did is I moved them up here and actually used them as handles. So I had a handle here and a handle here, and I literally had to drag this thing out. So surprisingly, my workout still went pretty well today. I was feeling a little bit sore after that. But everything got moved yesterday, but none of the other stuff really got moved. So there's kind of some blank spaces around. I have all my lifting shoes over here I need to put back in. I actually wanted to show you this too. I'm not sure if I showed you this the last time that I built the platform. I have these like little foam pads, and sometimes you would use these like under rugs on wood floors so it doesn't skid around, or sometimes you might use them in your pantry to put like dishes on and stuff like that so they don't slide around in the pantry. But I had actually been using these underneath the horse stall mat and in between the plywood. So I had it just like this, in between obviously, so you couldn't see it. But that just gave it a little bit of a bump, so when I was doing deadlifts, it would really stop the bar from rolling forward. I honestly just forgot to put them back in, but I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference this time. Also, right here, I have a treadmill that we were gifted. I don't remember if I showed you this in one of the other gym videos. It's really old, but it does the job, I guess. I haven't used it. Beyonce has been using it a little bit, just as a warm-up or walking, whatever. My Pioneer Fit belt, that's the one I used today. Traditionally, what I've been trying to do is alternate the belts I use each session. So from the prong belt, you have the lever belts up there. I just alternate. I like to use these a lot more on like my pause squat work, only because this has been a real bitch to break in, as are most prong belts. And I can't really get it too tight, at least as tight as I can get my lever belt. So this has been nice because it's kind of in between wearing a belt and not. It's tight enough where I can feel it, but not too tight where it's going to really stop me from breathing or doing a lift efficiently. So it really just reinforces me to push out my gut, really brace my core. So I've liked that a lot. I have all this crap over here. iPad, Ironmaster dumbbells. I got to move all this stuff. My box full of gear, and I want to say thanks to Silent Mike. He actually got me out some of these new gangster wraps as well, the black ones. I really love these the blue ones, the original ones. But I just wanted a new pair. I wanted a black pair because I just like black. BBC included. Know what I'm saying? But otherwise, here's all my other stuff. Again, just got to clean up. And then finally, I'll probably do this in another video by itself. But a lot of people ask what I use for music down here. This is an Ion World Rocker. This thing is probably the best investment I've ever made. It gets really super loud. The battery literally lasts forever. And it's awesome because it's Bluetooth and it's pretty portable. So I'll do a review on that later. But this is what I use so far for the basement as far as music goes. Other things I want to do, obviously, a lot of people say paint the walls, put up drywall, stuff like that. And I probably will do that at some point. I'm really not too concerned. Conquering Barbell is going to be sending me a big banner that hopefully I can hang up here. Some other things in the short term that I'd like to do is I'd actually like to get some dedicated lighting down here. Maybe mount it across this beam here. And maybe another one hanging down across one of these beams pointing here. That way I don't have to bring these studio lights down. But that's one of the things I'd like to do. Also, as you can probably tell, I got this ghetto rig just because the basement, while unfinished, it doesn't really have a ton of outlets down here. So I want to run a couple of more outlets. Maybe one over here, one over there, just for the time being, until we actually finish the basement in whole. So again, we want to put a full bathroom down here, a bedroom, and a little bit of a living space, as well as the gym. So got some plans down here, but it's just going to take time and a lot of money. And obviously, I don't make shit on YouTube, hence all the unnecessary plugs, or necessary in some cases, which, by the way, if you're interested, you can check out the NA. So otherwise, that's it. It's pretty early in the morning. I started training at 6. Now I got to shower and head into the office and get some work done for the day. So as always, appreciate you watching. And in the meantime, stay big.